Good evening, it's Kuro. Got a tier 9 or tier 10 game in my tier 8 Cossack, and just gonna do this review. I know that this ship will probably be leaving the arsenal soon, and before it does, just want to get a review in before it goes so people can make an educated decision about the ship. Um, Going over the matchmaking, looking at a enemy Des Moines, and that's all the radar. So relatively light radar threat. Looking at the destroyers, we've got a Yaguma, which is a slight detection threat, and an Akizuki, which pretty much don't want to tangle with that. So, Cossack. She was a ship that I didn't think that I was going to like initially. If you watch my channel, you're probably aware that I'm not that big a fan of gunboats and particularly destroyers that have very limited torpedo armament. And Cossack, she's still a really good destroyer. She's a hoot to play. Right here I'm going through the mini-map, and I always like to have any hydro or anything like that selected. If there's radar, I'd like to have it on my mini-map. Is this the first time I played the ship? It might be the first time I played the ship. I can't remember if I played it before, but basically I just slapped my daring captain on it, and just initially, just ideally, I'd want to have a 19-point lightning captain. That would be, in my opinion, ideal. Um, Not entirely sure that I'd want to have IFHE on the 120 millimeters that this ship has. But basically what I got here is, my daring captain. It's got IFHE on it. I popped my hydro and just happened to randomly spot that Yagumo, and got one volley off, did 2k, and I'm just gonna disengage here. Um, it's looking like the end. You look at right here. This is what you need to look at when you're a destroyer. As soon as you have that initial engagement, what are the enemy team's ships doing? What are my ships doing? And you look at my ships have not committed. They're sitting here milling around. The Wooster probably doesn't even have any shots on anything down here. This Zhao, he's okay. He's got shots down here. Okay, he's ready to kite away. This Conqueror, he's going to be a conqueror. He's not going to push in. So, this is telling me that, I don't have any support here. So, with that whole engagement, there's already right here, I know I can't stay on the cap. I have to leave. I could sit there and, try to stubbornly hold the island with my hydro like a lot of people do, but eventually they're just going to flank me and kill me. And dying that early is, they would kill me within 5 minutes easy if I went to the island. And that's just the way it is. Yeah, I might get some damage in, but it's not gonna win games. We're moving in. So instead, just gonna contest as long as I can. I circle back here, hoping I can get, an angle on this Yagumo. I see the Des Moines, and it's just time to go. I call target on the enemy Des Moines. I know I'm probably going to get radared here. Oh, nope, the guy turned out. So that gave me, you know, the window of opportunity to escape. And I'm just going to kite out. There's no point hanging around here. And if you look, we've got another brief flash picture of the enemy team. They are all coming heavy A. So I intend just to dump torps back in here. Maybe I get lucky and hit anything trying to push up through here. But I pretty much wanna be get going. I was kind of hoping that the Yu Yang would pop out. But as more and more ships are poking in, you know, it's too risky. It's time to go. Now right here I am getting some good spotting in for my team. If you look how tight they are to the islands, this is mostly me doing all the spotting. I know it's not really ticking. You know, I don't always think that the spotter is correct. Sometimes there's a delay, sometimes you're not credited for correct spotting damage. We got a Montana pushing in, and I'm going to use my first smoke and try to get some pressure on this guy. I did land a torpedo on the Rune. I don't know if there was flooding or not, and he just repaired fires or whatever. The guy was under fire. But basically, just going to go to town on this Montana, see what I can get. And you can see kind of the gun power with this thing. 8 guns is no joke. Now, granted, these guns also have IFHE, so anything, you know... Oh, what is it? I think 120 millimeter with IFHE will pen somewhere around 25 millimeters, something like that. So there's still a lot of... right here, here's the Akazuki popping up in B-cap. You know, I'm just dumping torps out there. Maybe I get lucky, hit him. But the IFHE can let you do some additional damage on some cruisers, stuff like that. I gotta double check that to make sure if what exactly it'll pin. I just threw the captain on it because why not? I wasn't really concerned about, you know, IFHE being, you know, the be-all end-all. And if I was trying to, you know, maximize a build just for this ship, I wouldn't put IFHE on it. I'd probably run IFHE or RPF, or, you know, stack up multiple 3-point skills. Akazuki's getting radared. So I've got a smoke handy. I'm just going to push into the cap and just go to town. I know this guy's out of his smoke right now, so we've got a chance at winning this gunfight. And, you know, basically just trying to, you know, make sure that we get that guy finished off. He's one of the main threats to me for this on the enemy team. So getting that guy down, yeah, I took a little bit of damage doing it, but it's not the end of the world. Now, I kept shooting and baited that Montana to shoot at me, and that's a misplay on that Montana's behalf. That guy, you know, he's not really taking much in the way of damage, and you know, why get yourself spotted? Why not just sit there and wait until something is, you know, in particular is spotted, and you can just blap it from that range. But, you know, that's something that I think a lot of Battleship players forget. and that's part of the reason why I kept shooting, trying to just keep baiting the guy. Now we're down, a bunch of points. I'm gonna step on B cap. If you look, finally I got teammates that are around me. I'm in a good, solid situation. I've got, Worcester, Missouri, got a Kronstadt here, got radar for days. I've got my smoke, so if I run into destroyers or anything like that, I'm most likely going to be able to pick that fight, with, I don't see any enemy radar ships. I would be able to pick that fight, excuse me, undetected, and just use my smoke for concealment. Now, one thing to note about this ship, it is a British destroyer. It accelerates like a bat flying out of hell. I mean, from the fiery pits of hell, this thing will take off like a goddamn rocket ship. But it's got no brakes, man. It takes forever and a day to slow down. So that translates when you're smoking, your smoke doesn't deploy all that long. So what you need to be doing is you need to try to slow down in advance. Kind of like if you used to play the Royal Navy cruisers, you kind of had that, 2 puff smoke. You needed to be slowed down to about half speed in order to, stay in your smoke and, you know, be able to actually use your smoke. Same kind of thing. Right here, I'm just pushing up here, and I'm just trying to get a couple shots in on this Montana. And this is one of those things, just being cheeky, trying to harass the guy, and I'm just going to duck right back here into the island. He's going to take a shot at me, but good luck hitting me. And that's just standard, use of the guns. Any destroyer should be doing that kind of stuff. Just harass the guy. Who knows? I may get a fire there, force his damage control. Or if his damage control's on cooldown, that's, a big chunk of damage. Now, I want to take a minute and pause it right here because we got some stupid shit going on. What in the hell is this guy doing? Take a look at your mini-map, people. You look... I've played pretty conservatively most of the game. Was going to get overrun today, fell back, came to B, didn't even really push and commit into B until I had killed the Akizuki, until I had pushed back the Montana, until I had all sorts of teammates surrounding me. Then I stepped onto the cap. This is, waiting for the window to open for you to be able to do something. And when you wait for that kind of support to form around you, you can do things in the game, and it costs you very little HP, very little, use of consumables. Um, it's the counterpoint to that is your team's being a bunch of retards, and you've got your carry pants on, and you need to make something happen. Well, a lot of times when you're trying to make something happen, it's going to cost you hit points. It's going to cost you something, or you're going to have to do, an extraordinary amount of damage. So right here, I just want to point out, some bad plays going on. I know it's a Cyclone. Everybody's vision is shit. But just because it's a Cyclone, I would argue even more because it is a Cyclone, the team that balls up the best is going to win. So you look at the enemy team, okay, they've got a ball here that's going to eat our Missouri. If these guys all push through here, they're probably going to kill our Zhao and our Hipper. And then we have a major enemy force down here that if these three ships just push down here, they'll die to them, and then my team is pretty much toast. What needs to happen in a Cyclone is you need to have a consolidation period where you fall back on your team and you get, a cohesive fists together, and then you're just gonna punch the enemy all at once. Because when you come into a cyclone situation, you've got, radar, stuff like that, that as soon as ships get spotted, they're popping radar, they're doing whatever. So destroyers, cyclones are incredibly punishing to every destroyer. Uh, your advantage of being able to spot people, 16 kilometers out is halved. Your view range is 8 kilometers. Your concealment, in my case, is 5.5 kilometers. That does not leave you a big buffer if you have something like a 30-knot battleship hauling ass at you and you happen to be heading in the same direction. You're being spotted and forced to smoke within seconds. So, just some notes on playing uh, in a cyclone. Now, there are stuff that you can do to use the cyclone to your effect, particularly with your guns, dipping in and out of concealment, so you can pop up, fire 2-3 volleys, battleship starts to look at you, and then you just kite away. As soon as you get his attention and his guns start turning your direction, you just kite out, take that couple seconds, you disengage. Now you pulled that battleship's guns off target. You wait 10-15 seconds. Most likely he shifted his guns back. Dip back in, do it again, and just, keep that constant kind of harassing up. Torp boats can do it to an extent, but in reality, torping gets hard when you're dealing with this situation, simply because a guy goes, I'm detected, I can't see anything, there's a destroyer in my face, I should expect torps. And it's that kind of, it's that kind of knowledge that makes, playing a torp boat really painful. Now, all I did right here, I'm just timing that Montana. I'm counting down in my head basically what I saw off his indicator. And I want to get the hell out because I don't want to have to waste a smoke here. I just want to get outside of my concealment range and, be good. And now that he's spotted, I know I'm good. I just, popped one quick shot off. Knew that Montana couldn't spot me long. Knew that Hindenburg couldn't spot me long. So why not take the shot? Just Cyclone has, some really unique, cheeky opportunities for you to play around with your guns and, use them. And on Cossack, you're an absolutely fantastic ship to do this because you got, hard-hitting alpha guns. You've got pretty good fire chance. You've got a lot of smokes. You've got that, hit-and-run play style that the Royal Navy destroyers have. And if you look, I'm just cycling right through. I'm torping what I can torp. I may only have 4 torps, but they're not on my boat long this game. I'm constantly throwing them out in a direction where I think that they might be useful. Now here, a little bit of teamwork. I know this Musashi's going to push in. I know this Kronstadt's broadside. If that Kronstadt, that move gives that Kronstadt the ability to not fire and angle, and if he's a dumbass and he fires, he's dead because that Musashi is just going to nuke him right off the face of the earth because he's flat broadside. Me dropping a smoke there for him like that gives him the ability where he has 30 seconds to angle his ship to this threat and give him a chance where he can actually tank this Musashi somewhat. He's not instantly killed just because this battleship charged right out of the mist. And it looks like it's having the effect. This guy's starting to reverse, starting to angle. That's a clutch play. I just saved that Kronstadt's life. Just with that move. Yeah, he can't see the Musashi right now, but he knows he's right there. So, plays like that make or break these sorts of games. You know, you don't have a lot of time to plan or act. That's just something that I happened to be driving by at the time, and oh, by the way, a fucking battleship popped up. You know, we saw him 7.7 kilometers away. You know, this cruiser is getting that same notification that I do, but this cruiser has, you know, almost 1,000-meter turning circle. He's not going to be able to avoid that situation. So, you know, that's just good teamwork right there, those types of plays. Here, this Montana is ignoring me, so I'm just, you know, going to town on that guy. Looks like this is the Kutuzov. Anytime you've got a smoked up cruiser, throw some fucking torps in it. Deny that concealment to those players. It's absolutely critical. I see people constantly bitching about Haragumo, Kitakaze. You know, Kutuzov, everybody talks about how overpowered it is, blah, blah, blah. DDs, torp the goddamn smoke. Torp it. Who cares if you throw your torps away? You don't get any hits. So what? You help your team out so much by denying that concealment to the enemy. Now, in this case, this guy basically, you know, wasted that smoke because it is a Cyclone. And, you know, now he's in the situation, he's smoked up. That Montana died, he lost all spotting, and everybody moved outside of 8 kilometers. Now this guy can actually shoot. It's just Cyclone is incredibly punishing for a Kutuzov. Now he's hitting me, so he's just going to keep firing in the smoke. But I'm inside of his smoke concealment, so I can see him. He can't see me. Now, I do have torps coming in. My smoke's wearing off. I'm just going to get kiting. And I just want to use this island to disengage. So, I'm going to shoot once more. He's going to try to get a shot off, but he just can't pull it off. So, I'm going to just kite back to my team. I don't want to, you know, pick a fight with a Kutuzov one-on-one with me being this low HP. There's nothing really in it for me. So, just going to come back, fall back on B. You know, keep this guy spotted if I can. Just waited for him to shoot. And again, just trying to distract him slightly. I had already pre-slowed down for that smoke, so I instantly dropped off. Terrible shot there. Now this Kutuzov's starting to kite out. It looks like the effect of the Cyclone's wearing off, and things are going to start going back to normal. That's going to leave this Kutuzov in a bit of a pickle unless this guy's got smoke handy. He just got lit on fire again. And at this range, I'm just going to keep shooting. You know, I'm a bit of a hard target at this range. Kutuzov shells start to get kind of floaty out beyond 10 kilometers. And I mean, this guy's the only enemy ship left, so why not? And I'm just trying to drive in, and again, this guy, he's doing a really good job hitting me. It's just too late for his team at this point. So we win this on points. This game was, you know, a pretty good lesson in you know, initially deciding where I need to go based off, you know, the initial 30 seconds of contact. You know, we get the notification it's a Cyclone battle. You know, Cyclone means you guys should be consolidating into, a consorted, you know, pretty much a task force or whatever you want to call it, and push the enemy team. The strongest ships in a Cyclone are the battleships, hands down. Uh, Maybe ships like a Hindenburg, being tanky close in where you're a little hard to citadel, and you've got torps. You know, Hindenburg in a Cyclone can be quite nasty. If you're wondering about, the credits, I was grinding, the Royal Navy mission for, 4 million credits. So I've got pretty much every, credit earning thing under the sun. That's why it's, stupid. Um, and then this game, this was, a real good representation of playing Royal Navy destroyers, that non-stop harassment, using those short duration smokes, you know, to an advantage. A lot of people will say that, the smoke doesn't last long enough. I like the smoke because good players are going to torp your smoke, but your smoke is so short that your smoke's out pretty much before the torps have a chance to get to you, unless you're dealing with, under 7 kilometer ranges. So take the opportunity. You drop the smoke, you get the hell out of there, and, your next smoke is, just a snap of your fingers away. And, you're constantly able to um, cycle your smokes. You can use them for teammates like I did. Um, and it's just, it's that harassing Royal Navy destroyer play that I personally love. A lot of people, they have a hard time with it. Um, because it does play differently than other destroyers. These ships, while they're slow, I feel like I move around a lot more with these ships than I do uh, most of my other destroyers, with maybe the exception of the Russian gunboats. So this was Cossack, and a bit of commentary on Cyclone. Just to sum up Cossack, if you guys can get her, get her. She's a solid boat, great concealment, pretty goddamn good guns. Uh, if you've got the Royal Navy destroyers, she's a hoot and a half to play if there's going to be ranked at this tier. She's a destroyer that I would be very much inclined to bring, just because she's an absolute beast when it comes to murdering destroyers. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to pick fights with, something like a Fletcher or something like that. Uh, using my smokes and stuff like that to get an advantage on a Fletcher. Um, it basically force him to smoke up, to disengage, and then farm him on the next smoke, just pushing in and getting aggressive with him and bait him into a fight. And that should tell you just how strong that destroyer is. Yeah, the torpedo power is kind of crap. This game, I was spamming them out there. I was getting hits. Uh, it. They're a secondary weapon. Your guns are definitely your primary. The good news is they hit hard. They've got good fire chance, and okay rate of fire. If the rate of fire was much faster, it would be, too crazy. I mean, you are talking about 8 guns at tier 8. So, you know, so Cossack is definitely a recommended ship for me. Um, so if you guys were on the fence about her, it's definitely a ship that I like having on my port. So I'm just gonna cut this short. I know I rambled on a little bit, but wanted to finish my, you know, recommendation on Cossack and let you guys know a little bit about the ship. since I got a little distracted with gameplay and stuff that was going on in the game as far as teachable moments. If you got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Um, and this will be a ship that you'll see off and on my channel. I just like it. She's a solid boat, and you know, that's pretty much it. So, hope you guys are having a good night. Sorry for rambling on, and I will talk to you guys later.